2017, nor 2020, nor 2021. This is like public accumulation on a massive scale. And that's just these companies. The other thing that I don't get is how people aren't like more terrified. If Bitcoin takes off, there won't be any for you. These companies will be holding all of it. And the idea that someone told me before, someone said you act like people can't buy Satoshis. You're not understanding at all the math behind any of this. If right now, and I mean from the standpoint of complete realism, you've seen that thing before. If you haven't, go look it up. Multiple news agencies in the US were asking people, if there was an emergency right now for, a $1,000 emergency, could you cover it? I think it was 60-70% said no. Like there's no, I don't have $1,000 in the bank to cover that emergency. Imagine doubling that to a $3,000-$4,000 emergency. How many people do you know are going to be like, okay, cool, I got it. And I know someone was like, well, my friends can. Well, that's cool that your friends have money. Now, for the rest of everyone else out there, that's not a reality for people. Now, imagine you have normal life. Imagine you have things going on. Now, also realize that there's this thing called Bitcoin. If Bitcoin, I don't know what Bitcoin's price is right now. Let's say Bitcoin's price is 40,000. To get 1 million Satoshis, you would need $400. If these people can't afford that for an emergency, how many people are spending $400 to make sure that they have 1 million Satoshis? Now, let's say Bitcoin's price does a 10x to 400,000, one of the mid-range predictions for Bitcoin's price over the course of 2025. That then leads us to a $4,000 price just for 1 million Satoshis. Just for 1 million, only 1 million Satoshis. When you hear this level of accumulation by these companies, and you maybe even have the same mind frame, I don't know, as me, as far as where this is all going and exactly how high Bitcoin's price is going to be, we are going to live in a world where a lot of people are already struggling. The people in the future who realize that Bitcoin is over $1 million and they could have bought it or fragments of it for next to nothing, I think we're going to see a lot of angry people. A lot of angry people. We still have another 116 years of Bitcoin mining left. It's staggering to me how there isn't more of like an emergency or like an urge by a lot of people to accumulate Bitcoin. I sincerely don't understand it. It's something that actually boggles my mind. Like I can't conceptualize. Like, no, so I understand once again, and I said that before in another video. It's a huge difference if you have a bunch of other obligations and stuff going on and family to feed and you have kids and you have this and all this other stuff going on. But this is specifically for the people who have like 3 cars, who have like tons of shoes, who have all this stuff, 5 TVs, all these things in their house that they don't want and need. I told that to I had one friend in particular years ago, one of the very few who listened to me. I told her, I said, listen, you got all this stuff in your house. A lot of it you don't even use. Sell it. Find a way to get rid of some of this stuff because it was just sitting there. She wasn't using any of it. She sold a whole bunch of it. I was shocked. I was shocked that someone listened to me. She sold a whole bunch of it and she actually bought Ether. I don't remember how many she bought. It wasn't hundreds, but it was like a good enough amount. This was years and years ago. And then at some point in 2021, she sent me a message and she said that the money that she got from it, if she sold her Ether, would have been enough to like buy a studio apartment somewhere, like buy a studio apartment that she was thinking of having as like a rental income kind of thing. And I was like, that's crazy that it was just because she sold the stuff that she wasn't using around her house that got her that money to be able to like in the future buy property. And when I hear, I have a lot of friends, I have a lot of members in my life who just buy like the most nonsensical, ridiculous things, and they try and show off on social media, and they try and show other people how much they have, and they're broke in real life. They don't have jack diddly squat.
Kinder Bueno. It's crispy. It's creamy.
And I'm like, the contrast of what could be as far as how high Bitcoin could go in the future, where prices might land, how rich the richer might actually get. Like, have you ever thought about what is going to happen to the world if Bitcoin gets to $1.5 million per coin? How rich you would be? How rich these companies are going to be? We're constantly in this world where like AI is taking over everything. Automation is taking over everything. And it's like a lot of people are kind of just, I don't know if it's being desensitized or what, but a lot of people are floating through it as if all this stuff isn't taking place and they don't have to invest and they don't have to think about the future in some sort of way. I find the narrative right now in the world is very, very odd to me. There's like a really weird cloud that's kind of like hanging over so many people's heads, and I don't know how to deal with it. I keep chatting with people. Like I told all of you before, I have friends who are like in their early 40s and stuff like that now. As time has gone on, of course, they have gotten older, and I chat with them, and I'm like, and I try and be nice as well, because you can't be harsh with people. So I'm like, hey, what are you doing for retirement? How are you thinking about retirement? And I know a lot of friends who like laugh and they chuckle and they're like, I don't have to think about retirement. Like they're expecting their pensions to like do something and like go somewhere and like actually help them properly retire. They're not saving anything because they're in essence expecting their hard work over the course of 40